Good morning, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We've got Madina slamming Syndey in this Bachelor happy hour clip recorded after the Women Tell All. She basically says, look, Syndey used me as a prop, which is nothing new, but interesting to hear Madina say after saying she was unbothered and ready for tomorrow, that being, of course, Monday night's Women Tell All. Now we have Syndey's response after exiting the Women Tell All and what she had to say. She's moving on with life. All good things. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals every afternoon and morning. Bachelor Rush Hour, the hit podcast. All right, that's true. We were featured on Caitlin Bristow's Off the Vine podcast, both Tuesday and today. What a week for us. What a week to be alive. And what a week for my backyard. A quick update. We found a bunny. This is my slightly disabled, elderly senior basset hound. Not even aware, and basset hounds are supposed to have the best noses in the game. Not even aware that we found a bunny right here. Have a watch. What'd you find over there? The big update. There it is. That's the bunny right there. A baby bunny. There it is. Either way, the dog didn't even know it existed. Update on the bunny. He has left the premises. Maybe he'll be back. We don't know. I'll give you live reports on if the bunny returns. But as of right now, he's left the Airbnb, as it were. All right, Maria Georges, possible future bachelorette, said another real one. Always D. Neals gets it, BRB. And then there she was. So thank you to Maria Georges, the gorgeous Georges, for the shout out there. Of course, always nice to get some love from alumni. And let's dive into it. So we've got Syndey. We've got, oh, you know what? Before I play the audio from what Madina said, let's go to what Syndey said. Here she is. She posted this little video of her hugging Jess and Leia. She said, it may not have gone as planned, but I found love in these forever friendships. Unfortunately, the world didn't get a chance to see who I truly am this season, but I learned so much from this experience. I came out stronger than ever, and I can say wholeheartedly I will move forward with empathy and understanding in all walks of life. Sending so much love to every woman who shared this crazy journey with me. Joey, you deserve all the happiness in the world. Now, as far as irate villains, I saw less. I struggle to want to redeem Syndey as much as I wanted to redeem people like Shanae. I always thought Shanae was defensive because women attacked her because they come from different parts of life and she was more blue collar, this and that. With Syndey, it seems to be a little bit more manipulative in the way she handled Maria and her stage time in general on the show. It seemed as though when she shared how gaslighting happens afterwards, it almost seemed like she didn't realize, like, hey, take the loss. You came off horrible. If there's another side to you, rather than litigate what we didn't see on camera, just be the change you want to see in the world. I think that would have been the smarter PR move than sort of double down. But anyhow, she was the center villain on the season. I look forward to her moving on with her life. I look forward to her, trying to, be a better version of herself or whatever, hubbaloo you want to say about her. Yesterday, we made a video where Syndey, I guess, reposted a friend's post, and then other posts from that friend were offensive in different ways. And I didn't know if they were actually friends or whatnot. And as it turns out, people say, well, they've been in photos together. They were definitely friends. And, you are in part a sort of melting pot of the people you surround yourself with. So if you have bigoted friends, reconsider your friend group maybe. But then again, I'm from New England. Syndey lives in my hometown here, runs her shop there. And I'm not entirely surprised as a New Englander that people might in New England not be used to, coexisting with people that don't look like them. That's just a colloquial thought of mine. It's always good to get out. The more you get out and meet new people that don't look like you, the more empathy you can build. And maybe that was the root behind her issues. I don't know. Either way, here's what Madina had to say with Bachelor Happy Hour podcast immediately after taping Women Tell All. Let's have a listen. It's coming up.
We saw what happened when I said something out of emotion. Like, I obviously did not mean to use the word bully. And so, I think I just liked having that time to process and to actually, talk about how I felt tonight. So Let's see.
But what started all this? It all started with you said you felt old, and then that was just that started
no. Let's run the tape back. I said I felt pressure as a 31-year-old, and I'm joking with you a little bit, but I think.
But that's what. Okay.
So she says she felt pressure, and Maria did the thing you do with friends where you go, "Shut up, you idiot! No, you're great, you're hot." Maria's negating Madina's feelings was not to invalidate her, just to say, "Come on, girl, you're great."
The frustrating thing about like that whole situation is like, if you actually look at what I said I felt pressure. I'm 31. I feel like I don't have a lot of time to waste. And so when what I said was taken and skewed into, I said I was old. I said something about like, oh, she's hot, she should own it. Or like, Joey's only 28. I never said anything about anyone else. And I think that was like the frustrating part is when I brought up my age, I brought up my age only in regards to myself. And at the end of the day, you can be 20, you can be 30, you can be 40, you can feel however you want. If you're 45 and love being single, more power to you. I'm not telling anyone else they have to feel this way. I think for me, I put a lot of pressure personally. I have some cultural pressure for me to get married. And it's just how I feel. And
I mean, look, hey, I get it. I'm glad Madina's sharing how she feels. I'll give you this point of view from the stage. When you're on stage as a comedian, you got to be careful making fun of your age because you're going to have people in the audience that are older than you. So whenever I hear you might be 24 years old and feel old because all of your friends are still in college, and you go, "I'm so old, I can't believe I'm 24." And it's like, you're going to really piss off a bunch of 28-year-olds who are like, F you, or 40-year-olds. So, I think it's fine for her to feel those feelings. I just don't think it's ever going to be received well because you got a bunch of 40-year-olds going, "Are you kidding me? You're 31. You're before the best years of your life. Shut the hell up." That's because age is the one thing we all have in common. So one thing we all have in common is that we're getting older every day. And when we look at someone who's younger than us, what do they say? Is beauty's wasted on the young? I definitely messed that quote up. That's definitely not what it is. Either way, I understand her feelings there, and yet it just doesn't play to the audience because everyone's in the similar boat. So it comes off a little bit like complaining to other women who are also all kind of trying to get time with Joey, and she feels like, she's rushed and all that. We get it. It makes sense, but also maybe the wrong audience.
I was honestly confused why I wasn't like, I guess, allowed to have that feeling, and honestly taken aback.
Yeah, I feel like tonight you being able to give context to the comment, because I feel like we heard you say that on the show and then it turned into Madina feels like she's old. Madina feels old. Madina feels old is kind of what we heard all season. So for you to give that background of like, it's not that I feel old, it's that I have this pressure that I feel that comes from my culture, that comes from myself to get married and have a family and like to achieve these things that you want. I think it was great for you to be able to give context to that. Do you feel like watching it back, I think there was a lot of Maria's talking shit about Madina narrative going around. Seeing what you saw, do you feel like it was shit talking?
I think shit talking is definitely a strong word. I do think at the end of the day, like when she approached me when I was setting up for Joey, she did say, "Why does me being 29 upset you?" Which I was honestly like, what? Like I literally said nothing about your age. And I think that was like the frustrating part. It felt like no one heard what she said. At the end of the day, I don't have to explain to anyone necessarily how I feel, right? It's how I feel. If I had said it in the context of how other people's age, yes, I think I have something to respond to, but I'm allowed to have my feeling.
No, she's allowed to have her feeling, but again, she also has to remember she did apologize for saying she felt bullied. You can feel all the feelings that you want, but there is collateral damage to to what else goes down. Maria goes, "Look, feel your feelings, but if you say you felt bullied, it was because of me. Now, ipso de facto, you're calling me the bully, and that ain't it. I didn't bully you at all. I was on your team, blah, blah, blah." So she's allowed to have her feelings, but it's also not, and again, I like Madina here, but it's also not, it's not surprising for the audience to conflate what she said into her saying she was old. She said she was 31 and she felt rushed. She put her age in there as a 30-plus-year-old woman. So I think it's fair that people were like, "Oh, she feels old," when technically she was one of the older cast members on the show. So she probably did feel old. So just own it. You felt old. I think that's what it was. I think she felt old. And I am conflating what she said, but I kind of still believe that's what it all came down to.
And so I was taken aback. I think also that night I was setting up to tell Joey about a very personal situation that I had. We were on that group date with the working out. I don't know if you guys remember the boot camp, but a lot of those exercises last year, I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but like last year I literally almost died from doing some of those types of exercises. I got this condition called rhabdo, which is very critical. And I was setting up a spot, and that was what I was planning to tell him. So I was in that kind of mindset of like wanting to tell him this serious conversation. And I was like, I was not thinking about this comment at all. And so like, I'm like, oh, well, hold up. I am trying to set up right now. Like, I am not trying to have that conversation.
Yeah, you're like, girl, you're redirecting my whole night right now. Like,
Literally.
my mind is not where your mind is.
And in what world of natural dating do you spend so much time preparing to have certain conversations? I'm going to go into this and tell him, but obviously they're only allowed so much time with Joey. I would be the same way. I would ramble. I would talk too much. Like you have a time crunch. You panic, and she obviously didn't want her whole conversation to be about defending herself. Not her problem, not Maria's problem. This is all Syndey's fault.
Exactly. So I think it was just, and I don't care. I've known Maria 4 days at that point. Like if she wants to shit, I don't care.
She wasn't.
I don't know. It was hard because it was like Maria wanted me to be less upset about my age. Syndey wanted me to be more upset about this comment. Like, can I just feel how I feel? Like not telling.
I don't think Maria gave two flying shits about Maria or her age. It was a flippant response. Oh, don't worry about your age. You're fine. Own it. You know what I mean? That's all it was. Syndey, on the other hand, weaponized that content.
Not telling anyone else to feel how they feel. So it was like so confusing.
Do you think kind of being dragged into all this, do you think I don't know if it ruined your experience, but I guess hindered your relationship with Joey? You think it could have gone differently?
No.
I think for sure, like how I came to my conversations with Joey was like way more of like a serious tenor than I ever would want to come into like a new relationship as. I think for sure 100% he did not get to see the true me. I don't know if that would have changed the outcome. No. But I think I would have felt better being able to leave knowing that he was able to like truly see me versus me leaving knowing like I would have sent me home too. Was definitely like a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, because
and that's what's tough, because whenever you share insecurities when you're just with the women, anything you share with the other women will be used against you, because they're all competing. There's a lot of catty people. You get the Thomas. Remember Thomas when he was like, yeah, I'd be the Bachelor. Oh, Thomas wants to be the Bachelor. Everyone made him out to be a villain. Thomas is a noble guy, right? So everything you say can and will be used against you. But I don't think her situation with Joey was going to last any longer. I don't think Joey really paid too much mind to this fighting. This is a women-only side of the things. The spillover that was brought to Joey, sure, did it take some time up that he had to talk about this versus other things? Yeah, but I mean, whatever. I think Madina understands it wasn't going to work out. But at least if this didn't happen, she would have known for other reasons why she got that clarity that it wasn't going to work out.
Because, I mean, you only get so much time, and the majority of your time is now spent on nonsense and somewhat defending yourself, and it kind of ruins your chances. Lowers your chances.
You would be someone I would love to see like come back on another Bachelor season. Like if there was a lead that they were like, hey, we think this would be like a great fit for you. I feel like it would be really interesting for you to come back and see how that journey could go differently for you. Would you ever do it if they were like, hey, do you want to come back? We have a lead we think you'd hit it off with.
She's like, fuck no.
I don't know. Well, you maybe no. I mean, you did have kind of like a tumultuous experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would definitely ponder the idea.
So she would ponder the idea of Paradise. My next video coming up right after this is why Paradise seems to be canceled.
I don't want to ever sit here and say like I didn't do anything. Like I think I can definitely be more open and just more me. I think I've been placed in a lot of boxes where I've been expected to be kind of like perfect and poised. I won't get into that right now, but I think like tonight was kind of like an example of me being able to like speak my mind and have my truth, but also be poised and respectful. And so it would be nice to like have another experience where I could kind of just like be a little bit more me. So yeah, I wouldn't say no. Potentially.
Maybe Bachelor in Paradise. Would you do Bachelor in Paradise? That's a much
easier question. Yeah.
Whatever you guys got for me, where that I can potentially end up with someone. Because where is my man? Where is he?
Yes. No, I thought you did an amazing job tonight, really. What was it like? Because, I mean, you knew Maria and Syndey for the same amount of time, which I know the girls get really close and that bond is undeniable, but at the same time, it is a short time together. Did you feel like you were pulled in one direction or another tonight between Maria and Syndey? I mean, you were literally sitting dead in the middle of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've always veered a little bit more towards Maria just because I feel like personally, like I'm not someone who's going to dote on something. Like I don't think I would ever pull someone aside and be like, oh my God, this person's saying this about you, unless like we had been friends for like 7 years and like this is our like really good friend and like why are you saying that about our other good friend? Especially knowing that was already something I felt like insecure about. Like I don't think like that comment like I even needed to hear. And I think the difference is like when Syndey argued, she argued and used me as a prop, saying she was arguing in the vein of me when I never asked for that. And I also didn't need anyone to stick up for me because like Maria and I had resolved it. So if you're going to argue, own it, because like you said you felt bullied, which is fine. You can feel that way. But then you have to then finish that argument and don't put it on me.
Yeah,
Maria,
that's fair.
she argued for herself.
All right, so there it is. Syndey, Madina says Syndey used her as a prop. We know that to be the case. That's exactly what happened. Syndey had no business being in there. It happens every season. I'm just sticking up for the other person. Well, go to therapy and find out why you felt the need to stick up for the other person, because you weren't. You wanted to, your limbic system was flared and you were at war and you took it out on somebody else. That's all it was. I can't be convinced otherwise. Hey, Syndey, being from Newport, why don't we do this? If you ever want to do an episode of Driving with Dave, let's get some awful awfuls. We'll get a bowl of clam chowder and let's talk it out. All right, we'll be back with more content right after this.